Hi guys, it's album review time. Spirit Adrift and Ghost at the Gallows. Spirit Adrift, an American metal band. In fact, they're one of my favourite metal bands ever. I've recently discovered, probably about 3 years ago I discovered them. I'll get onto that a little bit in a minute. This band were formed in Arizona, obviously the USA. They're one of the best metal bands out there for sure. Perhaps the best metal band out there. They are that good. So the sort of leader of this project, and is now a band really, is Nate Garrett. He used to be in a death metal band called Gate Creeper, and then he was running Spirit Adrift as a project alongside Gate Creeper, and now Spirit Adrift is his full-time band. So now this band are based in Austin, Texas. If you try and explain the band, it might be best to actually explain their influences via their last EP. Well, it's sort of like a full album really. They had a covers album with a couple of great tracks on it. Metallica, Lynyrd Skynyrd, they did a Pantera cover on that EP, 20 Centuries Gone. Bit of Thin Lizzy thrown in there, some Doom elements, some Sabbathy elements. They've got like a brilliant mixture, but they are definitely, this just so original sound they've got. They're an amazing band, like I said, fast becoming, if not, my favourite band. Those southern elements are just, they're so very slight, but they're definitely there, and especially Skynyrd, you can hear that, especially in some of the guitar work. Amazing. This album, Ghost at the Gallows, is coming out on August the 18th via Century Media Records. And thanks to the label for sending it to me as well. I've been listening to it a few times. And it's such a brilliant album, it really is. So this is the fifth album. The fourth was 2020's Enlightened to Eternity. But I discovered them on their EP Forge Your Future, which came out after that in 2021. And it actually, Forge Your Future made it as my top track of 2021. And then I've just gone back and listened to them, and they've literally got better and better and better as every album's gone on, and this is their crowning glory moment, if you like. It's amazing. On that 20 Centuries Gone album as well that came out last year, apart from they had a Thin Lizzy cover, like I said, Metallica, Pantera, Skynyrd cover and a ZZ Top cover, they also brought out Sorcerer's Fate and Mass Formation Psychosis, the two singles off of that, which teased us. It really has been excruciating to wait for the album to come out. Them two tracks are not on this album, but them tracks standalone, the ones I've just spoken about, are some of the best stuff they've ever written. And it's like teased me in thinking, how good is this album going to be? And it does not disappoint in the slightest. It's amazing. Now, a bit of history on Nate Garrett himself. He struggled with alcohol abuse for quite a long time, and he actually became alcohol free. He hasn't touched a drink apparently since 2015. He's been sober, so congratulations to Nate Garrett for that. And I think, when you listen to Spirit Adrift music, there's a lot of reflection in there, and although it's quite dark and somber at times, it can be quite uplifting, and the messages in the music as well, and I love that. You can tell, he's been through a lot. It's amazing stuff. And like I said, this band just keep getting better and better and better with each release. It's amazing. Let me read a little bit about what Nate Garrett said under the promo I was sent. So he says here, death has been an up and close and personal part of my life since I was a young child. When I began writing the album Ghost at the Gallows, the spectre of death hung as constant as ever. This album navigates a world where ghosts are real, and they haunt us in the form of grief, trauma and loss. Despite the subject matter, the songs aren't just downtrodden dirges. The music is diverse and dynamic, ranging from the mournful, southern tinged acoustic passages all the way to aggressive speed metal assaults and everything in between. And like every entry in the Spirit Adrift catalogue, the deepest aim is the lyrics to find good in the bad, strength in weakness and hope in darkness. It wasn't until he finished the record that I realised all the stages of grief are present on the album. Maybe these songs were my subconscious attempt at facilitating my own grieving process. Either way, the record helps me, and I hope it helps whoever else needs it. That's, you know what I mean? When you listen to this album, you hear those words, you can really hear that through this music. It's not, like I said, it's quite a dark album, but of course it's got reflection, and it's got, you know, the ways it feels like he's striving to improve everything in his life through the music. And, you know, it's really relatable. It really is. And one other thing he said, which hits home, I think. He says, I wanted this album to be something that you're going to listen to in 10 years. And man, I know when I'm listening to this album, that's what it feels like. It feels like something classic, like I'm going to listen to for the rest of my life. It really does. It's hit me quite hard, this album, from beginning to end. It's an absolutely amazing album, and it has not disappointed me in the slightest. Although my expectations of Spirit Adrift at this stage are very, very high, it's exceeded even my high expectations. It's an amazing album, and it also sounds amazing. This was produced by Sanford Parker, Jeff Henson and Nate Garrett himself, and mixed by Zeus, who mixed the recent Queensryche, well, the last couple of Queensryche records. An amazing producer he is. It's mixed and mastered by him. So, man, the sound is amazing. Every instrument is perfectly balanced. The riffs are really heavy. When they hit hard, they fucking hit hard. The bass just rumbles in the mix. The snare drum is nice and snappy, and the guitars, of course, it's so heavy and brilliantly balanced throughout. It hits hard, but it's meant to hit hard, and the beautiful parts in this album sound beautiful, and then a lot of that is to do with the production as well. An amazing job on the production. In the band, so Nate Garrett does the vocals, guitars, bass, drums, piano. I'm not 100% sure if all the band, because they're like a live band, have been playing instruments on this. I was trying to have a look, but I know Michael Arellana on the drums has been doing some work on the drums. But Tom Draper also on the guitar, and Sonny DiCarlo on the bass. So I think they've had more input now on this album than it's almost turned into a band now, rather than a solo project from Nate Garrett. I'm going to get onto the songs. Let me just tell you now, every song is a masterpiece in its own right. It's an amazing album from track 1 to track 8. 8 tracks of absolute brilliance I'm going to talk about. Here we go. So this amazing album kicks off with Give Her to the River. This is a 7.5-minute track, fastish in places. But from the beginning, it starts off with a beautiful, clean guitar opening before the heavy riffs crash in about the 1 minute mark. Then we're into a brilliant, frenetic and ultra catchy riff. Nate Garrett's unmistakable vocal just sort of glides along with the instruments perfectly. There's some really clever guitar work on this track. It's just amazing. It really is. It is about the song, but man, you've got to turn it up, put the headphones on, turn it up. You can really hear some intricate, clever guitar playing. The chorus really is so cool. It sort of slows down and some gorgeous backing vocals kick in. It's amazing stuff. It's epic. All the brilliant Spirit Adrift elements are present in this actual song, including that amazing twin guitar attack we've got here. The way the guitars sort of bounce off each other in the solo is outstanding. It's a brilliant extensive instrumental section, and the song ends how it started, a beautiful little quiet section at the end, and I'm breathless straight away. And then we get into a single barn burner. Amazing track, a cool guitar melody at the beginning, almost Maiden-esque starts the song off. Then the riffs crash in again, the bass rumbles, and we're into a groove that is so infectious. Sabbath vibes sort of dip in and out with those slightly southern feels that the band possess. What a brilliant rocking track this is. And again, some really cool fucking intricate guitar melodies. To add to the brilliance, there's a neck-breaking pre-solo section that is just amazing, and those Maiden influences again coming through on the solo as well. Track 3 is Hangman's Revenge. This is probably the fastest track on offer here. It's riffy, it's chuggy, it's heavy. I really feel sort of like a new wave of British heavy metal vibe here for me, as the track is pure sort of relentless fun. We're not fun as in we're talking happy, you know, sing-along choruses, but it's fun. It's really fun to listen to. I think this fast-paced track is a really almost cool departure from Spirit Adrift's usual sort of Sabbathy feel, but we get that classic feel come back in the last third. Over there's like an instrumental section that slows down a bit, and it's amazing. I love the way the band sort of refuse to stand still as they provide you with a lot of different feels throughout a track, and this is no exception. The next song is These Two Hands. This is a beautifully written ballad. An acoustic guitar and atmospheric guitar effects sort of weave their way through this almost 70s folky inspired sort of dark track. Nate Garrett's gorgeous vocal is the pure highlight here, is his tone. I love his tone of his voice in that lower range. There's so much depth. The track takes a heavy turn just past the halfway mark. We're into familiar Spirit Adrift territory as the beautiful feel of the track sort of carries on, but with a heavier format. It's a brilliant slow track, just filled with emotion from beginning to end. Then we get on to the first single that was released, Death Won't Stop Me. 10 out of 10. Just a 10 out of 10 track. This track, man, just... So you can check this track out now to give you a taste of Spirit Adrift. Like, it's on YouTube and everything. If you're not sure, just check it out. It's like a guitar melody right at the beginning of this song that has a bit of a similar feel, I would say, to Maiden's Hallowed Be Thy Name. But in that particular Maiden track, it comes at the end. You know what I mean when you hear it. This song is why Spirit Adrift are currently my favourite band. Those riffs, man. This is currently, maybe along with another song I'm going to talk about, my favourite song of the year, I think. I think it is. It is at the moment. It's my song of the year at the moment. If not, if it isn't my song of the year, it comes very fucking close. It really does. And like I said before, Forge My Future was my song of 2021. And there was a couple of Spirit Adrift songs last year that came in my top songs as well. So that's how good this band are. This is a masterpiece. The way the two guitars work with each other in this song is just perfect. It's catchy, it's heavy, it's infectious. And man, the closeout riffs, the heaviness, it almost gives me the feels, the heavy feels that going way back to 95, I think it was, and Down's Nola album. And it really gives me those crushing riff feels. Next is another single, I Shall Return. If I leave, I shall return. No. Maybe a nod to Ozzy's Crazy Train as we get that feel in the verse, in the riff in the verse. I can also feel a bit of Thin Lizzy elements throughout this track. It's ultra catchy. The chorus is ultra catchy. It will be going over and over in your head long after the track is finished. It's amazing. That's another excellent thing about this band. They do have a real sort of dark, somber feel to them a lot of the time, but then they can also write a chorus that other bands could just kill for. We're on to track 7 already, and it's Siren of the South. An amazing song. A thrashy riff starts this brilliant track off. Then a cool frenetic riff kicks in after that. And you get those brilliant atmospheric backing vocals that are dotted about, that they're so good at throughout. I would say there's some Alice in Chains influence here. Basically a mix of classic Metallica with Alice in Chains, their sort of dark elements wrapped up in the brilliance that is Spirit Adrift. The song ends with another beautifully constructed acoustic part, but that ain't it. They don't stop there. An ultra heavy riff then kicks in after that to play the song out. It's just songwriting brilliance. And then we move on to maybe my favourite song of the year. We're talking Death Won't Stop Me, and this are, for me, the highlights of this album. It's the title track, Ghost at the Gallows. Another 10 out of 10. 7 minutes and 55 seconds of amazing quality. There's another outstanding riff starts this song off, and their riffs are just amazing. Some of the best you've ever heard. And then you just know you're going to get something special when this song starts. That riff over the verses, oh my fucking God, it's just mind-blowing. This song has to be heard to be believed, guys. It really does. Words cannot describe. I was trying to write down, how can I describe how fucking good this song is? And it's impossible. You can't describe it in words. Hearing those vocals by Nate Garrett with that slightly haunting effect. He's got like a little effect on his vocal, and it sort of comes in from a distance and fades away. It's just brilliant. It's just amazing. This is Spirit Adrift brilliance summed up in one song. The instrumental section here is just mouth-watering. This is a song, and I mean, Nate Garrett said himself he wants this to be an album that you listen to for the next 10 years. And with music the way it is now and how much there is, that's a difficult task because it's almost throwaway now, isn't it? With streaming and all this, it's not like you get your album out. You can buy the physical product, but how much of that goes on now where you're listening to that song for years and years of your life, or that album for years of your life? But when you're hearing these songs, and this song in particular as well, you think that this is the way it makes you feel. Like, I need to listen to this for the rest of my life. It's amazing. This song is maybe up there, and I was listening to this with, you know, when you're talking about songs you never get tired of, Master of Puppets, Heaven and Hell from Black Sabbath. I'm thinking that this song is that good. I'm listening to it thinking it's that fucking good, and I don't do that often. Just going back to the song a little bit, because I got a bit carried away there. There's a quiet section here that just builds up, and you can feel it building up, and the atmosphere is beautifully built up, and then it goes into like a heavy part, but still slow, and ending what is just a perfect album for me. We talked about perfect album shows, me and the Idiots a little while ago. If we ever do one of them again, this is going to be on it. The perfect album. It really is, from start to finish. There's no weakness. This is an album to get. I just totally recommend this for any fans who are into that sort of metal I talked about. But Spirit Adrift have definitely got they've carved out this niche that is, you know, unmistakable, but they take influence, and proudly take influence, from the bands I spoke about. Guys, this is a must buy. It's a must purchase. You must do it right now if you haven't already. It's coming out on August the 18th on Century Media Records. It's amazing. It's Spirit Adrift. It's Ghost at the Gallows. Guys, if you're really unsure and you don't believe what I say, all you have to do is go on YouTube. All you got to do is listen to the 3 singles that have been released already off of this album. Go back a little bit, listen to a few more as well. Listen to Fool's Your Future. Listen to Sorcerer's Fate while you're at it. They will be your favourite band, guys. Honestly, amazing band, amazing album. I'll see you soon.